wherever you may be and however you may be listening. iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Today is Wednesday, heard brought to you by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. God, looks like Brady, Tampa Bay got everybody signed. Ndamukong Suh is going to sign. Donovan Smith just signed. Everybody. It is amazing about how the cap works. Chicago doesn't pay their quarterback anything, and they had to let go of their best corner. Tampa, we have an all-star team. Bring them all in.
People that know how to manipulate that cap there can't be many of them, because it's certain teams that seem to figure this out every single year.
Saints.
And you're like, we all are working with the same numbers, right? Like the Rams, you guys all have to use the same numbers. How do you guys have all these players and nobody else? Some teams can't sign another extension. It's wild.
Green Bay couldn't keep a Pro Bowl center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they only pay like two guys. It's amazing. And one of those guys is Aaron Rodgers. So I am a big believer in fit. Okay, so Joy and I have bounced around in our careers a lot. And one of the reasons I came to Fox, I thought it was a better fit for me than ESPN. ESPN was very corporate, very Disney, very Lion King, very safe. And I'm kind of a let-her-rip guy and big opinions, and I have a lot of things I'm doing on the side, and Fox is like, yeah, do your stuff, whatever you want to do, start companies, whatever. And I just thought it was a better fit. Doesn't mean it's a better company, but I do think fit is really important. And I've always said, Aaron Rodgers is a weird fit in Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers, last year, Green Bay drafts a quarterback in the first round. Translation, we're going to move on here pretty quick. Then Aaron comes out and crushes it, MVP numbers. Aaron's like, you love me, right? See, I'm good. No, we're still moving on. According to a story yesterday, Green Bay paid Rodgers a $7 million roster bonus. They did not convert it to a signing bonus. Colin, what does that mean? It's confusing. What it means is they can move off Aaron sooner. So they didn't convert it to a signing bonus, meaning they're looking to move off him pretty quick. Now, that sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would you move off? Never forget this. When Green Bay moved off Brett Favre, go look it up. He had just had his best year in a decade. He was a Pro Bowler. They were at 13-3. He got him to an NFC championship, and he was 6 months older than Aaron Rodgers is today. Brett Favre wasn't falling apart. He had just had a great year. They had just gone 13-3. He had just made the Pro Bowl. He had just cranked up a great year, and they moved off him. Why? Because they saw him as expensive and a star that was increasingly needy. That's kind of what Green Bay sees. It's funny how it lands. So Green Bay has always been about development. We all know this. This is not new. It's very small. It's the smallest sports town in America. It's got that Midwestern small town ethos. They're almost cynical about money and stardom. They're kind of cynical, right? Like when the Wisconsin Badgers hired, Bo Ryan, the basketball coach, they hired him from right down the road. And they didn't go for big stars. They had all the money. Wisconsin had all the money. If you go look at the history of Wisconsin football in the last 20 years, they make a ton of money. It's one of the most lucrative athletic departments in the country. They never hire a big star as a coach. They never do. They're cynical of the big money. Not that it's jaded. That's just the way Wisconsin is. They got their cheese. They got their Packers. We don't need outsiders. We're homegrown. We develop. It's Midwest. It's our ethos. And here's rock star Brett Favre and rock star Aaron Rodgers. So they draft Jordan Love, obviously. You don't draft a quarterback in the first round, not play him. I mean, just a total waste of draft pick. But it's funny how it lands. It's a weird fit between Aaron and the Packers. And if you read this story, basically, they don't want to offend Aaron, but they're structuring this contract to move off it sooner than later. And it's interesting how it lands. For Aaron Rodgers, whenever you get in an argument with your wife or your husband, the first thing a psychologist taught me this years ago, he said, well, just make sure it lands for her like it lands for you. You may have an argument. It doesn't necessarily land the same way. Arguments don't. So for Aaron Rodgers, here's how the current situation lands. You can't get many good players. For Green Bay, here's how it lands. Well, we would like to get you more, but you're too expensive, and you're getting older, and you're kind of needy. And both could be right. Aaron can't get more stars. That's why when they play Tampa this year and go 0-2, it looks like Tampa has far more good players. Brady takes a pay cut. That's why when they played San Francisco a couple years ago and Garoppolo wasn't making a fortune, it looked like San Francisco had way more good players. So how does it land? For Aaron Rodgers, this whole thing lands like, you can't get me more good players. You can't even keep my center. You couldn't keep Jared Cook. I can't get J.J. Watt. And for Green Bay, they look at it and think, dude, we're building this developmental roster, making fifth-rounders Pro Bowlers. We would love to get you more players, but you cost us almost $35 million a year. We're doing our part. You're not sacrificing. We're not going out and overspending and making it easy and getting free agents. We're not cherry-picking like the Giants, Adoree Jackson and Kenny Galladay, or like the Jets, Carl Lawson and Corey Davis. We don't do that. So we have to sacrifice in Green Bay. We are sacrificing Aaron all the time. It's a small town. This is our ethos. We have to draft and develop. And you, a big contract guy, are getting in our way. And so, I mean, it's, Tom Brady's cap hit this year is $28 million less than Aaron Rodgers. That's why they have an all-star team. So this whole thing is very interesting to me, is that when they moved off Brett Favre, he had Aaron Rodgers. He was 13-3. He would just turned 38. He was a Pro Bowler. He had his best year in a decade, just like Aaron did. And they just said, you're expensive and you're needy. And the whole thing in Green Bay is they look to develop. It's almost a college team. And they look like, well, we developed Favre. He was lost in Atlanta, kind of a mess personally. And we developed Aaron Rodgers, who had to go to a junior college. And now Jordan Love from Utah State. This is what we do. We develop. We don't get the big free agents, Aaron, and now you're really expensive. And we're doing the best we can, but we can't get great players now. Maybe the conference championship, that's what we can do. Because Green Bay's not stupid. They know the more you pay a quarterback, the less you can win. Can't win Super Bowls with an expensive quarterback. Doesn't happen. Hasn't happened in years. Hasn't happened in 15 years. Very funny. So just look at the story today on Aaron Rodgers. Not real subtle. It looks like they're giving him bonuses because they don't want to get trapped in 2 to 3 years with Aaron's contract. So this is funny. So the Bucs are going to now sign Ndamukong Suh. And now yesterday, Donovan Smith reached an agreement, $32 million contract for their left tackle. So they have now signed Chris Godwin, franchised him, Donovan Smith, Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Rob Gronkowski, Ryan Suckup, a kicker, and now Ndamukong Suh is going to get $9 million a year. This is the most talented team Tom Brady's ever played on. Go look at mock drafts. Every other team in the NFL is